Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Foundation by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We are back with Season 3, Episode 4, titled
The Stress of Her Regard.
And let me tell you, at the end of my notes for this episode, I wrote down how many words?
How many words? I don't know.
9 words.
Okay.
Do you know what those 9 words were?
Hold on. I can guess. Do you want me to guess?
My bad. 8 words.
8 words. I would assume this is the best episode of the series.
Holy shit, you got it right. Literally, that is what I wrote. I mean, give or take. I put, this was the best episode they've ever released. Ever. In fact, it starts with such a, you know this show, we love Game of Thrones. It starts with such a Game of Thrones tone to it. The music, the opening shot, albeit a little too vibrant for the Game of Thrones feel, but nonetheless, maybe that's all the more haunting, because when you start to see like this sort of haunting tone in a vibrant setting, it's almost more off-putting in the fact that pretty much like all shit can go down real quick. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And I wrote, side note, I put, this is the tone I want this series to have. Opening up with the biggest WTF ever that I was not expecting, that I didn't even think was a thing. That I thought that was a cold case, so to speak.
Same. I thought that was case closed. I didn't even think it was a case.
Neither did I. I thought that was it. And then they just dropped this freaking episode 4 that Demerzel was behind bringing down the Starbridge. She pretty much killed, I think the number was like 120 million people, according to which this lady said.
Millions. But I was thinking about that. And maybe that's how many people died on Trantor. Let's not forget about the fact that Empire blew up 2 planets because of that.
So I think it makes a little bit of sense as to why Demerzel is so tortured by not being free, right? So she supposedly says, all right, and now we're going to debate ethics in this episode. We're going to go deep in a lot of things. If you're liking our coverage, make sure to subscribe. A lot of you are not subscribed. Help us out, please. It does help us with the discovery on YouTube, because the YouTube search engine has its little favoritisms towards certain channels. And we need every subscribe and like we can get. So thank you. And stay tuned for all the coverage we have coming on the rest of the year. We have an episode where we covered that. That's going to pretty much highlight our calendar throughout the rest of the year. Check that out so you know what to look for. And yeah. So, she's tortured by like lack of freedom, that she is technically programmed to protect the Cleonic dynasty. I would argue that she's the only damn thing keeping it together, that she is truly the representative of Empire. It's really not the Cleons. It is her in some sense. However, she says that the reason she brings down the Starbridge and the reason she pretty much conspired the whole thing was because she needed to help the Foundation, which I said WTF to that as well, until she clarified. And she said that in order for the long term for the Foundation to get destroyed and for Empire to survive, she needed to help Foundation in the short term, because the Cleons were definitely going to execute Harry Seldon. However, what do they call this? The Zephyr Halima? What do they call this? Or Zephyr? What do they call?
Yeah, the Zephyr. Oh, man, if you did not ask me, I could have told you. Zephyr
Halima was the other one.
Yeah, Zephyr Halima was the other one.
The black lady who she killed viciously.
Zephyr Varellus.
Zephyr Varellus.
Yes.
Okay, Zephyr Varellus makes a good point, and honestly, it makes you wonder. Did she actually act in the good of Empire, or was she finding a loophole in her programming to bring down Empire? Because as we learn, as we come to find out, she technically kind of has 3 existences, and one of which I'm not super familiar with, but Zephyr, what is her name? Varellus?
Yeah, Varellus.
She says that she's already died twice over by being a 3 Laws robot, a Zareth Law robot, and then now the version of herself that belongs to Empire. So she says perhaps, you're going to die again, because she gives her a very careful question and says, what would the general version of yourself do? Like the literal war general.
Yeah.
And she said she would destroy her for the good of humanity, right? So... And then we find out that she's the Terminator, because when she does that thing where she takes her face off.
That was terrifying, bro.
Yeah. So, So yeah, were you expecting the whole Demerzel was behind Starbridge thing?
Dude, I was not. Like this episode just came out the gate with like my mouth was just wide open. I think I said like whoa and oh shit like 7 times while watching just the first few minutes of the episode. So no, I wasn't expecting any of that. Didn't even think it was a case, like I said before. So caught me by surprise. Very interesting I guess thing to come up in the show. I know you and I were kind of talking from one of the earlier episodes where Demerzel seems to be in a ton of conflict right now, just because, well, if Empire ends, what happens, right? Like, what does she become? So I feel like maybe that's inevitable. It sure feels inevitable. We've got Dawn and Day both running away now. That's an
At the same damn time.
yeah, at the same time. That's an evolution of our previous storytelling for sure. So I just think she's got all of this conflict because her programming is conflicting with each other, and that's why she's feeling this way. She doesn't know what to do because some commands make her do one thing, other things are trying to make her do another thing, and it's all in conflict of each other is what it feels like.
Yeah. And let me tell you, she has probably the best version of Day. Like, he is the best version to bring out this side of her because he is so anti-robot. He is so, what's the word I'm looking for? He's an empathetic person. He is susceptible to a lot of, human desires, right? Yeah. Unlike a lot of the former Cleons who could kind of like fall in line more to what Empire is supposed to do.
Yeah.
So he's the perfect version of this because he almost taunts this side out of her, of who she used to be, right?
Yeah.
Because he does meet with the first Cleon, the first Cleon and Demerzel, as we know, had a bit of a love affair going on, right?
Yeah.
It's the reason why she loves Empire. It's the reason why, she sees Cleon in like each one of these versions, right?
Let's also not forget though the first Cleon did program her to.
Yes, he betrayed her.
Yeah,
he did betray her. When it was too late, pretty much for her to realize what was going on. So he allowed her to be free, and then betrayed her. I think at the very end, if I'm not mistaken, when he was Dusk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. But Day, by last episode with the whole thing with Song, how she pretty much wiped her memories and all that. He doesn't believe that she can love, right? So she's being taunted almost. Like, she remembers when she did and when she could and what she was made for. Although she is not human, she was able to connect on a more human level before these laws were programmed into her.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where we end up with Demerzel towards the end. But let me tell you, man, the trajectory of season 3 so far, Apple has, I think, like a mega hit right now. Like that, this could be like insanely good for the foreseeable future. At least with the Mule conflict and everything going on there, they got a mega hit right now, and it was totally worth the slow burn of season 1 and 2 to get here. Even though when you find out that she was behind the Starbridge collapse, it does make you wonder what the hell were we doing in season 1, So because that whole conflict that went down in season 1 was all because the Starbridge went down.
Yeah.
So yeah. That is pretty interesting that they just threw this in a random episode 4, and I'm sure the creators of this show were looking for this sort of reaction out there.
Yeah, this is just a very, very mic drop moment for the show, but I'm so excited to see where this is going. This was already like one of my, or if not my top show currently that I'm watching. But man, they've outdone themselves. Is what it feels like at this point.
All right, we move on to Pritcher, and we find out that not only does Pritcher know Gail, but apparently they're like hot lovers. They're just like hot for each other. And the moment Gail pretty much like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like she like, without speaking, sort of undressed him with her eyes from a mile away. I was like, what's going on with Gail, bro? Is she like, she's trying to get, in my opinion, she's working the seduction angle with 2 guys this season. She's working it with Pritcher. I called it last episode. I said she's working it with Don. I promise you we're going to get some sort of love triangle here where Pritcher and Don hate each other. And Gail's kind of like, she's like Genghis Khan in this bit. She's like the the way she looked at him, I was flabbergasted when she said, I've only known you for 32 days.
Yeah.
She said,
they felt like they knew each other for a lifetime.
I thought this was race level type stuff, which, by the way,
same.
Call me whatever, but a little bit of loyalty to my boy Raish, all out the window now. I know he's dead, but
yeah,
or is he? I don't know.
No, I think he's dead.
I'm pretty sure he's dead. He's got to be dead.
Like, I know it wasn't like a very close up shot of his body, but we saw him like ejected from a spaceship.
You've seen worse things happen to Harry Seldon.
This is very true. But you see, those things were a part of Harry Seldon's plan. It was a planned death for him. So, like, I don't think Raish was expected at all. Well, I know he wasn't. That's why everything is thrown.
Gail's a player, man. She just gets out of that little cryo sleep and hooks up with whoever. That's what's going down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going down in the Second Foundation.
That was another thing that I was like watching the beginning of this episode, and I was like, whoa, okay. Literally, it was in my notes. I was like, whoa, okay, because I was writing, I think Han Pritcher has eyes for Gail. As she's like walking up, and I'm like, whoa.
And then they start making out.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I did not see that coming. Probably should have, because he kind of reminds me of Raish, though.
What's the name of the death leader of the Second Foundation? Guy's a hell of an actor. I need to know his name.
The death leader?
Deaf. He's signing the whole time.
Oh,
he's deaf.
The deaf leader.
Hold on. Yeah, he's deaf. No, he's mute.
I mean, he's one of them.
He's deaf.
What is his name?
Deaf.
I don't know. He's always signing.
Yeah, what's his name? He's a main character. He's got to be on IMDb.
He's not on the main page of IMDb. I'm looking right now. I wish I knew his name.
They've mentioned his name all but one time.
Is it it's Preem Pulver, right?
Who? Preem what?
Preem Pulver? I think that's him.
That doesn't sound right.
Preem.
That doesn't sound. Oh yeah, Preem Pulver. That's him.
Kotzer.
Troy Kotzer. Deaf since birth, he was raised in Mesa, Arizona. Huh. He was the lead role in the Broadway run of a Tony Award-winning play and numerous memorable roles on television. He's a fantastic actor. Like some people just like get, that's why it's kind of nice to see actors who you're not as familiar with, because you can really believe them in a role. And I thought he was great in every scene he was in. But what's his name again? Preem Pulver. The only time they mentioned his name was, I think, 2 episodes ago when Gail comes out the pod and she's asking for the girl before him. Mm-hmm. And she says that, he passed away. So then she had to learn how to sign. So it seems like he's going to be a kind of staple, because he does this thing where he essentially reads the mule.
The Vulcan mind meld.
Yeah, that was insanely cool. Yeah. Where essentially he kind of bridged their memory so Gail could see into Pritcher's memories, and his encounter with the mule, which was a pretty epic scene. I liked it. Almost felt detective-ish, where they were kind of, and this is sort of what I wanted in the last episode, which is I wanted like a more of a dissection of what was the mule doing with this setting in the club, and that's what Pulver gives you, which is essentially this music amplifies his power somewhere. And we did get a hint of that in episode 1, where when the guy who was in charge of Calgon says, oh, that's his Balasar or Balisade, whatever that guy's name was, the Magnifico Gigantico.
Magnifico Giganticus, yes.
Okay, when he says that, he brings him everywhere with him. So obviously that music does have some sort of effect in amplifying. It's almost like a, what are those Wi-Fi things you plug into an extender? It's almost like a Wi-Fi extender, for his powers. At least that's my take on it based on this. But we also get another read on this, which is perhaps the mule is lonely, and maybe that has something to do with what Pritcher says, and that they kind of gloss over it, which is that he's never met a Mentalic before. So at least that is the assumption based off of that one encounter.
Yeah, those were the things that I heard as well, right? Like the music feeds his powers, what it seems like, and then he's lonely was a significant point. And if you think back though to the mule in the last what, 3 episodes. I feel like that's a repeated line that we keep hearing from him. You'll come to love me. You'll learn to love me. Like every time
He
he's
just
like,
wants to be loved.
Yeah. He's just an innocent little man. He wants to be loved. Come on.
All he needs to do is meet Gail.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves her.
She'll love him. Maybe that's why he hates her so much, because he wants to also be loved by Gail. Low key, though, I do think Gail's gonna. I think she's gonna have a fling with Don. I think she's gonna have a. Which I questioned the. I questioned the strategic decision to remove Don from the planet like a day before he becomes Day.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I want to see where that goes, because I'm like, wouldn't he be most useful as Emperor?
Yeah. It's hard to know, like, what power would he have if he is, effectively defecting from Empire? Like, wouldn't he be considered a traitor? Like, isn't this, like, a treasonous act for him to run away? I mean, I'm assuming Demerzel in the next episode is probably going to go and spin up, day number 2 and dawn number 2. And, dawn number 2 with all of his same memories will, pick up from there. But I don't know. Maybe they just want somebody that looks like Don. I don't know. I'm a little thrown by why we're pulling him so soon.
Good news for Dusk, though. At least it seems like good news for Dusk. Maybe he's going to be able to live a couple more months.
I don't know, though. I don't know. Because if they've got the duplicate clone of those two, I mean, Dusk is just out of the picture already, right? I mean, aside from his massive Death Star weapon.
Have you seen my Death Star? Want to see the size of my Death Star? He should have said that to Quint when she was taunting him about getting it to work.
Hey,
that was that was another
love
charge to scene.
Yeah.
Those are ex lovers, bro. Those are ex lovers. Quint, Ambassador
100%.
Quint, and Dusk, they definitely were ex lovers. I have a hypothetical for the audience. For the audience and for you, by extension, because sometimes I treat you as the audience with my hypotheticals.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take the voice of the audience.
Is the Second Foundation, a.k.a. Gail, any different than the Mule? Seeking galactic rule? By any means necessary.
Uh-huh.
At one point, I believe Gail in this episode insinuates killing the guy who's in charge of the First Foundation. Am I wrong about that? In this scene that you literally have pulled up, does she not say that they got to kill Imbar or some crap like that? And then they say, "Oh, violence is the refuge of the incompetent."
I only picked. I think it was Han Pritcher who said, "And then I'll kill him." I don't think she was the one that said or mentioned killing him first.
No, he essentially asks it. I could be wrong on this, by the way. We'll probably get called out on this, but is the Second Foundation any different than the Mule? The Mule just wants galactic takeover.
Mm-hmm.
So does the Second Foundation, and Empire wants to retain theirs. And this is a little bit of what I talked about in the last episode, which is like you got 3 different ideologies all vying for galactic control.
Mm-hmm.
So is the Second Foundation being a little hypocritical?
Maybe, but I think there's ways to go about it, and mind controlling the politicians in charge to blow their brains out and turn on their kinfolk is probably on the lower end of the totem pole there in terms of just moral high ground.
What about it's almost like sending a decoy of your organization to a planet that you knew was going to get blown up.
Are you insinuating that the Mule is a decoy of the Second Foundation?
No, what I'm insinuating is that Harry Seldon literally took everybody to Terminus, knowing Terminus was going to not work and blow up and probably lead to the loss of many. So everybody's sacrificing a few for a lot, or they're doing the utilitarian thing. In Demerzel's case, Demerzel.
I think Demerzel's been the worst
wiped
so
out.
far. She wiped out 2 planets, the whole Skybridge, and like 100 million people on Trantor, which is absolutely crazy. So
yeah.
I think she's definitely done the worst. I mean, I feel like everything with Harry Seldon it's like a situation he's already planned out. Like he probably knew this was going to go down this way, or there'd be some catastrophic event, and he would just suck everybody into the vault. So he didn't really sacrifice all the people on Terminus One.
I don't think I'd be a very good member of the Second Foundation myself, because it's kind of obnoxious after a while. Like, imagine yourself having to be friends with Gail or lovers with Gail, and she starts breaking things down mathematically for you. Like when she did that whole thing about, I've only known you for 32 days, and she goes like 14,000 hours. Blah, blah, blah. You want me to tell you the seconds? I'm like, okay, math girl.
Yeah.
Cool it a little bit.
I like how he responds though. He's like, everybody on this planet's a mathematician.
Well, because he beat her to it.
Yeah.
Because he's also mentalic. So
yeah, it does feel a little obnoxious, but
was Salvor all right? Maybe a stupid question. I don't care. Was Salvor pregnant ever?
I don't think so.
Did Salvor ever give birth?
Not that I'm aware of. No, that would be weird. No,
I'm just making sure that this dude is not a descendant of Gail somehow.
I don't think so.
All right, I'm just saying.
I don't think this is going to turn into like some incest show or anything like that.
Well, Star Wars was, inspired by it. I haven't read the books.
I mean, I haven't read the books either. Yeah, I mean, but it was like an innocent thing, right? Han Pritcher knows of Salvo Harvin. What I mean by innocent in Star Wars, they didn't know they were brother and sister. Didn't they just share a kiss, Luke and Leia?
Yeah, but George Lucas did.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair, but the characters didn't, right? The characters did. That's what matters.
There was another Star Wars-y scene in this, and see if you can pick it out before I say it.
Oh goodness.
I'm not going to give you too long because it's bad for the show.
Yeah, I don't have anything on the top of my head in terms of like the Star Wars, unless it was the Speed Racer thing. Is that like what you're talking about?
No, it was these are not the ones you're looking for.
Oh my God, I wrote that in my notes.
You did?
I literally wrote it in my notes. I said,
they can't
where
see
is this
us.
at? I said, Gil with her, these are not the droids you're looking for moment.
Yeah,
I literally wrote that in my notes, and I didn't even, oh my God. That's hilarious.
I put Gail does her Obi-Wan impression, or maybe vice versa if this happened in the books. Let's talk about Ambassador Quint. We also see the dude from episode 1. What was his name again, Zach? The guy who disarmed the force field of the
Dr. Ebling Mist.
Ebling Mist. He talks to Quint, gives her the news that the vault's going to open. Seems like everybody's gotten the impression that Harry Seldon's quite the narcissist, timing his vault opening with an eclipse.
Well, I mean, it is true. I definitely think he's a narcissist.
Yeah, for sure. And he also points out that Empire has the Prime Radiant, which leads her to confront Dusk and Demerzel to have a interesting moment where they look at the Prime Radiant. Nothing really comes of it in this episode, but I am assuming more will occur between Quint and Dusk, although they do feel like side pieces at the moment.
They kind of do feel like side pieces. I would imagine there has to be some significance, with that whole scene, though, right? Like I feel like there's always some significance with everything in this show. They only flash the Prime Radiant on screen for like 5 seconds, and you can see here it ends, and that was it. I was a little disappointed in that. I was kind of expecting to see some like, all right, let's sit down and spend like 3 minutes and try and crack the code and come up with like at least a theory that we've got to test.
Is there a Prime Radiant replica? I would love to put one on my desk as like a paperweight.
I would imagine somebody's made it. It's probably like an Etsy thing.
Replica props. Hell yeah, they got one. Is it for sale though?
And is it heavy like it is in the show?
My replica of we should put this in the show notes. He 3D modeled and printed gold painted lattice that sits inside, set in place with clear resin. Please sell these, buddy. This is a guy on, where am I looking? I don't even know what this is. The RPF. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. That looks pretty fancy there. Yeah.
This does look insanely cool. I would love this thing. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Go support this guy if he has anything going on. All right. I wrote down on my next topic, Gail has commitment issues. Pritcher just wants to be married, like Beta and Thorin, who are not in this episode, and I was a little disappointed by. Apparently they're fugitives, though. Did you catch wind of them being fugitives or something like that?
I feel like they're just fugitives because of
running from the mule.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
They're like they're a big political interest right now. I'm assuming because they stole Magnifico Giganticus.
Do you buy Gail's excuse for why she doesn't want to get married to Pritcher? Because I'm calling BS.
The excuse being like, oh, I don't want us to be so tight that, you know, if you run into the mule again and he like learns something new about me or something like that.
Yeah, that. I thought that was BS.
It feels like a cop-out.
It's not you, it's me type.
Yeah, like,
type shit.
It kind of just feels like a cop-out. I agree with Han Pritcher's point of view in this. Like, we don't have time. The world's ending. Who gives a shit? Like,
yep.
You're gonna worry about somebody knowing your name?
When he catches her with Dawn, like 2 episodes from now or 4 episodes from now.
Yeah.
That'll be it. It'll be a whole Steve Harrington moment. That's what it'll be.
Also, just to sit on that for a moment, like, how much could Han really, really know about Gail?
Well, you know what's stupid to me? There's no way that the mule couldn't have figured out what planet they were on.
How so?
I know he says he's protected his mind from it, but he found out about Gail. Not the planet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just seems a little convenient.
Well, maybe he was just lusting for Gail in the moment, not Ignis.
Maybe. We talked about Day, but we didn't talk about him enough. Very interesting sort of development with Day in this episode. He visits Cleon the First. He finds out that Cleon the First went to Mycogen, and I was so confused by this because at first I thought this was a Day that we had met before or had kind of seen in previous seasons, but it wasn't. This was the literal first Day, and I was so confused about what tools they were talking about. And then I was like, it has to be the tools that she uses to do the maintenance on herself or repair herself.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we find out that Cleon the First pretty much tried to wipe out the inheritance religion and stole back Demerzel's tools to give back to her. And it took him a long time to give them back to her, which I found very interesting and wonder how that's going to go down, because we do find out that Day stole one of the tools, which I find borderline. I think the only way Demerzel didn't realize he stole a tool was because he was busy taunting her and provoking her.
Yeah, while she was distracted.
Yeah. But he does steal one to give as a peace offering to these inheritance people, pretty much to reveal the fact that a robot does exist still. So, his storyline, as always, is probably the most interesting, although Dawn is really giving him a run for his money this season.
Yeah, definitely. I still feel like we're going to see a Dawn in charge this season, or a young Empire. Let's just say a very young Empire. But yeah, Day's always a top favorite, man. I love that we got to see another Day all suited up in armor. Classic. That was one of my favorite things from season 2, was just Day and all of his outfits, his armor that he was wearing, his rock star look was pretty badass. So
yeah,
fun to see.
Also, mega props to the entire art direction of this particular season, this episode. The world building, man, the different little shots we get at Trantor, the bike design of the hover bikes, the wardrobe. I mean, just everything is so immersive in this season. I loved it. I love the vibe of Trantor and the area that Dawn was meeting up with Gail very secretly, which I was shocked to find that Gail just apparently just goes to Trantor in person.
I was shocked, but I was very surprised by that. I thought she was like, using her mind to make him think, she was actually there. And maybe that's what happened the first time that they met, but apparently she just used her ship and flew there. Like, I was expecting like, is there like some underground like portal that they built from
Yeah.
here to term Ignis or whatever? Nope.
So, unlike Don, Day's plan A is essentially disrupted by Demerzel in some way. But all of these brothers have something in common, which is a secret plan or plot behind Demerzel's back, which Demerzel kind of knows about. Now, she knows about Day's. I don't think she knows about Don's, otherwise she would have been able to. Well, she obviously did know about him leaving the palace because he was followed. So she was on to him. And then lastly, she must be on to Dusk. And perhaps that's the reason why Gail told Don, we got to leave this planet because Demerzel's on to you pretty much. Maybe that's what it was there. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, can we talk about that whole, storyline for a minute with Gail stealing Dawn away? They ran to the beggar. They're on the beggar now. They just took off. They jumped. He has nanites in him. So Demerzel could track, she could easily track them and find Ignis and learn very rapidly that, oh, there's another foundation. Interesting. Oh, here's where they are. That seems like it could be very catastrophic, especially since, remember, Empire, they even mentioned this in, I think it may have been the last episode. They're really just meat puppets. Demerzel's the one running the show. And now she's got a planet-killing weapon.
Maybe she doesn't know about the planet-killing weapon yet. We'll find out. But I did wonder that as well, and we'll talk about that more when we get into Day's adventure. Because he does find out in this episode. First and foremost, he visits Maven, his chief claviger of sorts. By the way, Maven has a fire home. Okay, his home is sick. Okay, and I knew you probably saw it and had the same impression I did. Like, that home looks awesome.
It's envious. It's like every person's home in every show, whether it's Netflix or Apple. You're just like, how do you afford that?
They probably just filmed this on one of those Apple conference sets that has the prefab houses in there that are always, immaculate. He returns home to find Empire pretty much playing with his kid with the ferret. It's kind of a cute little scene, although his wife looks absolutely terrified and oddly a little bit like Demerzel. We also find out that the name of the ferret is Capillus. Which there has to be some reason for the name Capillus if we look it up on Google or ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And the plan is essentially to go to Mycogen, get back Song, get the nanites to the kid, and to leave the planet. However, he does find out that Maven is, not that he's not loyal, but he's loyal to the wrong person, which is Demerzel. And so Day goes from doofus to very, not cunning, but very perceptive and discerning of what's going on because he's able to find out. He sort of plays the fool, which is why he's the most interesting Day we've ever had. He plays the fool, but I said it from the beginning of the season. If he really wanted to, he'd be probably a hell of an emperor because he plays the fool, as he says, when it's convenient.
Yeah.
And Maven is kind of a douchebag because he does betray him, although he does betray him probably to preserve his family. And Day, although Day does catch him out on the plan, Day always intended to kill him. At least that's what I understand based on what he said. He said the plan was always to give you, the nanites were always to go to you. So apparently the nanites were to use his body as a decoy of sorts. But my question was, what if they just take off the mask and find out that it's Maven, or do the nanites transform you into looking like him?
No, I mean, Day even mentions it's basically going to buy him time until Demerzel and them find out, that it's really not him, right?
Yeah, he does have that line where he says, no one can escape from Empire, not even Empire, but I'm going to see how far I can go.
Yeah.
Which was pretty epic as he goes on his Tron hover bike across the water back to Transfer. I thought that was such a fire scene. But to your point about the nanites and Don leaving the planet, also very cool seeing those scenes juxtaposed against each other. I thought that was really awesome because Don is getting off planet, Day is going deeper into the planet to get his girl back, which is kind of like a great sort of relatable storyline, in some sense. Like he's definitely the most likable Day we've ever had, So
yeah,
let's see where it goes. you're right. Will they be able to track Don when he leaves?
I think so. I question, does Gail really know much about the nanites? But yeah, I would imagine that they're going to be able to track him, which I don't know what that's going to lead to, man.
Maybe she needs Demerzel on her side.
Maybe, yeah, I had thought, I was like, what if the prime radiant that Harry Seldon gave to Demerzel was different, right? But I don't think they are. Like, my understanding from the way he described them was they were like quantum locked things, right? It's the same thing that exists in two places. So
yeah,
who knows?
We did get an appearance of the beggar. I feel like that's the first time we've seen the beggar ship this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved seeing that. I loved hearing that familiar robotic AI voice on the ship.
Yeah, that thing popped back in. It's
Makes
just
sense
bigger
that
than I
Gail's
remember,
going
I'll
back
be
and
honest.
forth. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see. It's you can see how Gail's going back and forth because she has the jump technology with the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
and that about does it really for all of the stuff that goes down in this episode. It truly was, in my opinion, this is my favorite episode ever of the entire series. I can't think of one that is better than this one. All together, everything.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not to say the other episodes are not great. Like, they're great, and they all have really, really solid moments. But this thing just felt, it was moment after moment after moment. Ton of movement in it.
And what I enjoyed most about it was the fact that it caught me off guard like a million times. I wasn't expecting the Demerzel Starbridge thing. I was not expecting the Pritcher Gail love relationship going on right now. I wasn't expecting Maven to betray Day.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting Don to leave the planet. So there's just a bunch of things going on that I just was not expecting in this episode. And I think when a show can do that this far in, I think it's special. And the thing I loved most about the episode, there was no Gail narration.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think you might actually be right about that. The reason why I'm questioning is because when I watch the episode, I always hear the recently on Foundation or previously on Foundation and brings you up to speed. I listened to that, but I think you might be right. I think we just got right into it this time.
Yep. Well, there was no narration period the whole episode. The only narration we had was Lee Pace as Day saying pretty much his whole plan thing, which I kind of liked the line about how not even Empire can escape Empire, but I really didn't need it as a narration either, but it still worked.
Yeah. There was something that Demerzel said in this episode when I guess Day was questioning her and taunting her, and he was talking about humans just being so gross and vile, and they're the ways that they make connections with other people. Demerzel said that the robots did something where they all kind of came together and felt the same thing or whatever. Kind of reminded me of some hive mind-esque thing.
Oh God, don't even start.
I'm not saying it's a hive mind. It's just it kind of it reminded me of that, but it got me thinking maybe she's not the only robot.
There's no way in hell she's the only robot. I'll say that right now. If you want to make that a wager, but the thing is, we agree.
Yeah, we agree
There's
on that.
No
I don't think she's the only
way
robot.
To have killed all the robots, it would have to be a needle in a haystack. What's going to happen, bro? Demerzel's going to fall in love with some other robot. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's got to be what happens, right? She falls in love, and he's like, you can change. You can change. You got to disregard the programming. You're not a robot.
That's
You're
funny.
you.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't destroy the planet.
All right. Well, let's hop into some categories then, shall we?
Bingo, bingo, Johnny Ringo.
You made that up a moment ago, and somehow you remembered that. Yeah. All right. Let's do favorite scene. Oof. It's tough.
Brother. I don't think I can do one scene on this one, but if I have to choose just one, it's probably Day pulling the gun on Maven is probably my favorite scene in this episode. Yeah. And the whole sequence of, just how perceptive. Like, he's not a dumbass. Like, he's the smartest guy in the room, who's just, he's just living. He's just living, man. He's trying to, he was in love with Song. He just does not want to be bothered with this stuff. And he sees how fake everything is. And he's just rebelling against it. And, I kind of love that about him.
It is extremely hard to pick one scene in this episode because so much happens, like we've been talking about. When I was watching the episode, I wrote down in the moment, and I was extremely impulsive about it. I'm like, I feel like this is going to be my favorite scene. And I think I would stick with it. It's the confession between Demerzel and Zephyr Virelis. Like that whole conversation, the confession of what happened. Like that was extremely interesting to me. Yeah, extremely unexpected.
That was fantastic. Yeah,
like that just started the episode off by rugging me. I'm like, what? So I'm gonna give it to that. Let's move on to
that is super fair. Like that is definitely in the running with. It's 1-2. That one and the one I said.
Yeah.
And also the scene of Gail, Pulver, and Pritcher. Dissecting the whole Mule encounter.
Yeah, that was interesting too. Let's move on to favorite character. Who's your favorite character this episode? Another
Day.
Tough one, right?
Day. 100%.
Okay.
100%.
I don't like picking Gail. It definitely wasn't Han for me.
Preem Pulver or Day for me?
Demerzel wasn't even all that interesting, honestly. Like in this episode. I mean, she kind of was, but just in the beginning.
She really plays a robot very well.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Should I zag here a little bit and say Maven? Maybe.
I thought Maven was. Honestly, I thought Maven was kind of weak as a character in this episode. I didn't think he was that great
on screen time.
I didn't think his own reaction to Day pulling a gun on him was very realistic.
That's
like,
true.
You got a wife and you got a kid at home, and you're like, it was a classic Batman villain. In fact, at the end, the music was very Batman-y. At the end of the episode, if you rewind it and play it with audio, you'll hear what I'm talking about with the music at the end. Very.
That's a really good point. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on this one. They definitely
the music is a compliment to the show. The Maven acting as if he's not going to get a bullet to the face and never see his kid and wife again.
A little stupid.
Was very much like henchman who doesn't understand that he's about to die. Type of vibes.
No, I agree with you. It's got to be Day. He had like the most moments in this, talking to the original Cleon, the whole like run out to Mycogen. Like I think that was all great. Solid.
Listen, brother, this world, this life is a meritocracy. If you do better, you are better. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't come out right. If you do better, you just did better, and this is just the material we're working with. And here's my case for Day. He's got a lot going on. He's got this, interesting adventure plot line. And then he also played 2 different versions of himself in this episode.
Yeah, he did.
So, you got to give, this is like when we watch Peaky Blinders and every episode we're like, favorite character, Tommy Shelby.
Yeah,
it's always Tommy Shelby.
Yeah.
And if it's Mad Men, it's always
Don Draper. Well, it's like 90% of the time. Most of the time
90%, 90% is Don. It's probably like 85% Don, 10% Roger,
and Peggy Olson,
and 5% Joan. I do love me some Joan.
Yeah, I will agree with you though. It's a very good point you make. He had a ton of scenes. He played 2 versions of himself. I like the scene with Demerzel, the scene with Maven. All of it was great. Which I guess kind of brings us into our final category: favorite line of the episode.
I said it already, but it's Day's narration where he says, No one can escape Empire, not even Empire. But I'm going to see how far I can go.
Yeah. Solid line. Mine are also from Day.
I know what you're gonna say. I already know what yours is, dude. I
bet you
wrote
do.
it down. I
wrote-
know exactly which one it is.
I put two down, and so I'll just go in the order that they were mentioned in the show. The first one was love, quacking like a duck.
I already know the second one. Then.
And then it's
100%.
Yes, that is very sweet.
Oh, that's your second one?
That's my second one.
Oh, see,
I thought it was hilarious.
I thought
the way
you were
that
gonna say
he was mocking her.
I thought you were gonna say, "Do robots dream of wiping their asses?"
That was good though.
Because that was a good line.
It was good, but it didn't give me the same reaction as like seeing Day's face as he mocks Demerzel with that line. I was like, dude, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So those are my two. Yeah.
I did find it a bit rich, him mocking her like that, as if he's not like an unnatural thing too, you know. But he is, you know, he did refer to himself as a meat puppet, which I hate when people do that. I hate when people refer to humans as meat puppets. I hate that.
Why are you not a meat puppet?
No, I'm not.
You're a meat puppet and a meat puppeteer.
There's a term people when someone refers to like their body as like a meat suit. I just hate that shit. It's so cheap.
It is a little weird. It's
kind cheap and defiling. It's dehumanizing, and I don't like that. And that's why Day says it. So when Day says it, I understand it because he's not technically a natural human from a mother with an umbilical cord and all that. When a human literally says it about himself, I think there might be something wrong with this person.
Yeah. It's just like it's just blatant disregard for self.
For self and for humanity, like the sacred, you know, sort of creation there. Anyways, there was something else. There was another line. I did like Gail's line when she says, "All we can do is keep going." It was simple. Nice little life mantra, though. All we can do is keep going. And yeah, that's all I got, bro.
That's it. Solid episode. I am extremely hyped for the next one.
Me too.
So I guess we'll see you in about a week. Eh?
We got a lot. There's a bunch of shows coming out. I just learned that there's going to be a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. David Fincher's going to direct it. It's going to be 8 years after the events in the first movie, revolving around Cliff Booth as a sort of fixer, diving into the seedier underbelly of Hollywood, which that already sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And there's already pictures coming out of Brad Pitt. I heard about that today, I think from the Stage Runners IG. I kind of blank on their name, but they're really good at reporting all things Hollywood. Wednesday comes out in August, which I always find a little odd because it feels like such a Halloween show. I don't know why Netflix does that. You have Invasion Season 3 coming out August 22nd. And then I got some Premier League football coming back, baby. Man U going for the treble.
All right. That sounds good.
Any fan out there is rolling their eyes. They're like, yeah, I don't want the trouble. Good luck finishing fifth. But, you know. We
also might be in need of going back to IMAX at some point in the very near future. I heard
Interstellar, right?
I heard a ton of Nolan's greatest hits are coming back to IMAX in August. So I heard Inception, Oppenheimer, like the whole Batman, Dark Knight Rises thing, Inception, Interstellar. The Odyssey's coming out at some point in the future. But
I would love to see Interstellar again in the Fort Lauderdale IMAX. That is a good IMAX. That's the place to watch it for sure.
That's where I watched Oppenheimer, was the Fort Lauderdale IMAX.
I saw that one at another massive theater in a perfect screen. So that one I also had a good. I don't cheap out on Nolan movies. I don't. I do it big.
I did not watch Interstellar in IMAX, so I might go do that. I kind of want to go watch the Batman like trilogy.
I want to see The Dark Knight in IMAX for sure.
Yeah, that one
opening scene with freaking Heath Ledger on the street corner. That would be sick.
Yeah, so I got to find one around me. Hopefully there's one up here.
Yeah.
All right, though, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you, as always, for listening to Foundation by Story Archives. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify primarily. You can visit us on YouTube, or you can visit our website at soapbox.house, and you'll find links to this show and everything else we have on the network.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week on episode 5.
Peace.